and execution was first class. And when you've got a pocket rocket like David Warner that can capitalise on, you know, a moderate first innings score by South Africa, and yes, Dale Steyn didn't get it right, but I think sometimes you've got to give the batsman the credit, because David Warner, when he's in his stance, the bowler knows that if you're offline by an inch, he's going to put you to the boundary. And I think he forced him to bowl short, he forced him to bowl wide, and if he bats for 3 or 4 hours tomorrow, this game's done and dusted for Australia. He's in formidable form.
Yeah, Warner was on 17 when this happened. Let's have a look at this. Big moment. LBW shout.
Well, it was absolutely dead, wasn't it? I mean, it wasn't given, and it was reviewed, and we were all just waiting for the, you know, the Duckworth-Lewis DRS to come in. Sorry, but there we go, the no ball. Part of the foot has to be behind the line. The line belongs to the umpire, and you can clearly see there, just to rub salt into the wounds. It would have been out, pitched in line, hit in line, would have thumped into leg stump.
He's only on 17 at that stage.
What a massive moment in the game.
And what's the thing that the Aussies do? You make them pay.
Well, when you're in that good a form, David Warner's going to make you pay more often than not. I mean, he's 73 off 62 balls in his innings so far. He's hit 13 fours and 1 6 already, and he has made them pay so far, and he'll make them pay tomorrow as well. Unless South Africa can find a way to stop him hitting boundaries at will like he has done tonight, then it could be a very, very long day in the field for the South African bowlers tomorrow. But it's all about his attitude. His attitude to batting is he's not worried about getting out. He's just thinking about scoring runs and putting pressure back on the opposition bowlers. And I thought tonight in that last session, albeit with staying probably a fair way below his best, the pressure he was able to exert on the rest of the South African attack was outstanding.
Yeah, we used to play against Warner, and we knew the only way to get him out, or the best way to get him out, was just dry him up, bowl the top of off stump, be really ruthless on your lines, don't give him any width whatsoever. Because as soon as you do, you see all these highlights here, nearly all of them are outside off stump, flashing his hands through, and he's so dangerous.
I think you've got to accept with Warner that you've got to go full, and if he drives you down the ground, I think that's the hardest shot for Warner to play. You know, he's played a couple of nice ones, but I think he finds that shot, the straight drive down the ground, harder than the cross-batted cut shots, the pull shots, the little flicks off the hip. So I think you've just got to be disciplined as a bowling unit to say, OK, we're going to have to bowl off stump just outside, full of length, get mid off a bit straighter, and try and get him driving down the ground. It brings LBW into play, it brings Court behind into play. They lost the discipline, and when he's in that kind of form, he's going to hurt you hard.
And obviously partnerships are crucial. The 105 for no wicket, the incredible partnership to start things off. South Africa, on the other hand, never really got going. There was a partnership of 71 between Bavuma and de Kock. Then there was a 49 Bavuma and du Plessis, and de Kock with Maharaja, a 48. Not really anything of any substance there.
No, they weren't allowed to get away, were they? The Australians kept adjusting things, their lines and their lengths accordingly, so they never got the cut shots or the wide half volleys that David Warner's had for the majority of his innings so far. I thought the discipline that they showed with the ball, and more importantly, the execution that they displayed as a whole group as well, and that's just not Stark and Hazelwood that got most of the wickets. We heard Swanee say earlier that he thought that Nathan Lyon did a terrific job, but the way they started this morning with the new ball was just spot on the money. Great catch there, set the tone for the whole day. Mitchell Marsh taking one high over his left shoulder.
It's a beauty, isn't it?
It's a great catch.
Beauty. It was like the Marsh brothers were having a competition today who didn't take the best catch, because Sean takes one, we'll see in a minute, off Nathan Lyon. But, you know, with that new ball, it was full, it was straight, a bit of movement there. They just did everything right with that new pill, and, you know, that is a huge wicket. Hashim Amla for naught. Oh, my word.
Well, it's all about setting the tone at the start of the series, that first hour. You know, we've all been in many team chats, and it's can you execute the disciplines of the plans that we've put in place, and Australia did that fantastically well. And you know, Ricky just mentioned the word discipline. Throughout the whole day, Australia were disciplined. They were disciplined with the ball, they were disciplined in the field. South Africa weren't disciplined with the bat, they made too many errors. And then you look at Palander stepping up, again it's a discipline at this level that you've got to get your foot behind the line. So it was a day of discipline and expertise by Australia, and a difficult poor day for South Africa.
And the old cliche, catches win matches, so true today. I mean, you mentioned the discipline, there's some incredible catches today. Let's have a look at those in a bit closer. Reaction times, Lee's outstanding.
Yeah, that's strange, that first one, it says 0.92 of a second. This absolutely flew off, and it's a great diving catch. I think because it's gone squarer, it seems to have taken longer, but make no bones about it, that was a very hard catch. This one was, you know, a lot quicker, 0.76 of a second, but you know, that's a dolly as second slip catches go.
Yeah, they just looked in control, Australia, and I think it's always a good indication that a team's operating well when they start holding their chances, and this is the one, Ricky, that you liked, isn't it? This was the one that you said was the hardest of all the catches.
Yeah, for a number of reasons as well, Vaughan. It's Mitchell Starc bowling at the whacker, so he's 145 k's out of the hand. It's a big slash from Faf du Plessis outside the off stump. It's flown quickly, awkward height to catch as well, and Rogers had Steve Smith in his vision. That there was a great catch as well from Sean Marsh. For mine, although the reaction time is probably the slowest, the quickest of the lot of them, that one's just about the easiest catch. You'll see close to the wicket fielders take that one more often than not.
There's a lot of talk leading up to this series from Steve Smith and actually, supporters of Australian cricket saying that they weren't walking around in previous series and in Sri Lanka with, puffing their chests out. But today, we maybe saw a glimpse of those old days again.
Well, I think being back on home territory, and in particular a ground like the Wacker, I think you soon get your mojo back as a home team, but you have to prove it. You have to go out there and have good first days, and I think Steve Smith will be sat in his hotel room absolutely delighted that his big players turned up. Mitchell Starc, Hazelwood, Siddle did a job, Lyon the off-spinner just held in, and I thought he bowled beautifully, Swanee, didn't he? And then you star at the top of the order with a near on average of 100, a near on average of 70 against South Africa. He comes out the blocks and puts their main man, Dale Steyn, under pressure. That's exactly what the captain would have wanted.
Kevin Peterson is part of our BT Sport team this winter, and he's been chatting with Crystal Arnold.
Day one at the work, and we can officially say that summer in Australia has started. Kevin Peterson has kept a keen eye on the 83 overs and 4 balls of the first day. And after day one, Kevin, what should the headlines be saying?
South Africa didn't have a great day. I think Australia executed their plans magnificently this morning with the ball, and then David Warner got served up. I mean, some chicken and onions, some beef pasties. The bowling was horrendous this evening, and when you get a low score and you try and defend a low score, you expect your senior men to come out there and deliver the goods. And if you have a look at the pitch maps weren't good enough. Everybody knows, and you could see from the way that Australia bowled this morning, you pitch the ball up at the whacker. When you've got pitch maps like the South Africans had, it's just not good enough.
So what does day two hold? What can South Africa do to limit the damage, and what can Australia do to continue to dominate?
Well, Australia can only hope that they bowl the same way, but what South Africa have to do is they need to realise that Warner starts again tomorrow, so does Marsh. Pitch the ball up, make them drive, forget your third man, forget your deep square leg, just make them drive down the ground, and if they get a couple of drives away, and I know that he played some wonderful drives on the ground, but you prefer to see him playing those, and the uppercuts for 6, and the punches off the back foot, and the pull shots, setting third men as a field placing. Pitch the ball up.
And as far as South Africa goes, of course, the selection for South Africa at the start, were you surprised by it? Did you expect a Morne Morkel, and what would he have done on this pitch?
Well, Morne Morkel's a wonderful bowler. He has phenomenal stats, and if you ask me who I'd prefer to face, I can tell you something right now, and what he shouldn't be doing is he should not be doing the sprints here with the trainer. That bloke should have been doing a lot of sprints, and the sprinting should have been out there with the new ball in his hand, because he is a fantastic bowler, and he's the kind of bowler that you look at a team sheet, and if you see Morne Morkel not playing and you see him on the bench and you know that he's fully fit, you're a very happy batsman.
Well, after day one, such an explosive start to this test, we can just expect 4 more days of explosive cricket. Thank you so much,
Maybe
Kevin.
3.
Back to you guys.
What do you think?
I think he's been a little bit harsh on the selection there. Morne Morkel's obviously not 100% fit. If he's 100% fit, he plays the game. And I think, looking at the pitch and listening to what Faf had to say at the toss, they wanted to play a spinner because the wicket looked dry. They couldn't go in with Morne Morkel and a spinner, leaving them with only 3 quicks and one of them under an injury cloud. So I think that would have been the way that they were thinking at the toss. Morkel will take part in the series somewhere, but he obviously wasn't fit for this game.
Bonnie, what do you make of tomorrow then? What would your plan of attack be if you're South Africa?
Basics. Australia covered the basics better than South Africa did on day one with the bat and with the ball. They've got the ball in hand, got to hit off stump more often, got to bring the Australian batsman forward. I don't think he can over-attack because of the position of the match, so 2 slits of gully, just get a ring field, but get it straight and try and hit off stump. You just hope the ball might swing around in the morning. It can do so, but they've got to just be a lot more disciplined than they were on day one. Australia were fantastic, and they'll just try and continue with that kind of method, and we know exactly the way that Warner's going to play. He's going to come out flying again.
Are you looking forward to tomorrow, Swanee?
Well, absolutely. I mean, South Africa is not all doom and gloom. They're still 140 runs ahead, which they have to tell themselves that if we get 4 or 5 wickets before lunch and chip in after tea, they could still, maybe even get a first innings lead, which is fairly unlikely unless they get these 2 out very early on. But you've got to say, look, we're still in this game. We're 140 ahead. If we bowl them out for 300, we're well in this game. It's a good wicket, and it will remain a good wicket.
Momentum is with Australia, obviously, at the moment. But tomorrow, you know, it could all change very, very quickly.
Well, look, today will only be a great day for Australia if they put another good one on top of it tomorrow. Things can change really quickly in this game. We've played enough to understand that if you execute well, if South Africa execute well tomorrow morning, that's pretty much all they can do. They need to have a great first 30 minutes in the game, in the day tomorrow. If they don't, then the game will start slipping away pretty quickly.
You've got to be realistic. Dale Steyn can't bowl like that again. You know, he's too good a bowler. He's a world class. He's chasing down Sean Pollock's record. He's just 6 wickets away. You know, he'll wake up. He'll realise today wasn't a good day. Great players respond the next day. I expect Dale Steyn to come back stronger tomorrow.
Will he be watching back the highlights?
I wouldn't think so.
No?
I wouldn't think he's got a lot to gain from bowling, watching the way that he's bowled this evening. He's got plenty in the storage bank to know that he can bowl a lot better than that.
Yeah.
An interesting thing I saw today, though, him having a laugh and a joke with a batsman. I've never seen Dale Steyn do that in the middle. And he's had
like you said, he's been giving it plenty.
Well, he's had a lot to say in the media as well, and then it hasn't worked out well for him, and he's all of a sudden he's having it. I know he's their teammates in the IPL, but Dale Steyn's not usually that sort of character.
He's softened up, perhaps.
We all do the older we get.
And the pitch has played kind of as expected, do you think, today?
It's played well. It's been a good pitch. It didn't really do anything early on. The Australians just put it in the right place. And you saw by the end of the day how good that place is to bat. The outfield is grease lightning. It's unbelievable. So, you know, that 240, even though we thought it may be competitive, it's worth about 200 on any other ground.
I think it's a really good test match wicket because it's rewarded good play. You know, we saw Australia bowl really well. They got rewarded. We saw South Africa not bowl well. They didn't get rewarded. We saw Warner play nicely. He gets a nice score by his name. We saw De Kock play nicely in Bavuma. So if you bat well, you're going to get runs. If your mentality's strong, you'll do well. If you're slightly off in mentality and technique, it'll find you out.
Well, a great day. Thank you, gentlemen. That is it for our coverage of the first day of the first test of the summer between Australia and South Africa. And don't forget, BT Sport will be the home of all Australian cricket for the next few months. And we get going again on BT Sport 3 with a live coverage of day 2 from 2 AM. And then we've got the highlights of all the action from 10 AM. It's been a fascinating day of Test cricket, and equally as fascinating overnight has been Game 7 of the Baseball World Series. You can catch all the action again at 11:30 AM tomorrow on BT Sport 1. That's it from me and the guys today. We're all off for a lie down. I also reckon the Aussies and David Warner in particular will be sleeping well tonight. Goodbye.